Danger Matt Schnell, ranked at number 8 in 125 pounds men's division versus number 9 ranked Rogerio Bontorin. This is going to be a good fight, AJ, because both of these dudes could strike. Both of these dudes are good on the ground. Now, Bontorin definitely has the advantage on the ground, and Schnell definitely has the advantage on the feet. Let's talk about a little bit of context, AJ. In their last fight, Matt Schnell had to fight a real deal striker in Tyson Nam. He's a favorite here on this show, on this program, right? And Rogerio Bontorin had to fight Kai France. And while a lot of people, he had Kai France in such trouble, man. It was ridiculous. He had a rear naked choke locked in, gassed his arms out. Kai France got him out and just slept him, dropped him on his head, man. It was bad. And Bontorin was so pissed off because Kai France, he did a lap and he was going to come back and hit him again. And Bontorin got so mad, he took out his mouthpiece and just chucked it at him, Steph Curry style, right? The question here, AJ, do you think, I want to know in your opinion, man, both of these dudes, let's just say for the UFC, right? Matt Schnell is 5-3 in the UFC and Bontorin is 2-2 in the UFC. And now in terms of age, Matt Schnell is 31 and Bontorin is 29. Right now, who do you think has more to lose with a loss in this matchup right now? Bontorin's on a 2-fight losing streak, so we already know that, but we can't really factor that in. I'm talking about a potential to really do things in this division, which is also kind of a shallow division at 125. Give me your take.
Yeah, this one's hard because they're both kind of in that spot, like that limbo spot of either I can go to the top or I'm going to be dropped off very far. Personally, I think Matt Schnell has a little bit more to lose. He's kind of has a little bit more hype to him. He's had, wins against Luis Smolka, like you said, the Tyson Nam split decision. He had a pretty devastating loss to Pantoja. So he's had a little bit more, I guess, media presence, at least in my mind. He has a little bit more kind of push to get up to the top, whereas Bontorin, not necessarily many people know about him. I know definitely in his last 5, there's really only 2 notable names in Ray Borg and Kai France, both of them losses. So he doesn't really have necessarily the bandwagon behind him to make this, if he does lose this, kind of like a super devastating loss, besides the fact that if he loses this, he could possibly get cut. So in that instance, maybe it's Bontorin, but personally, I think who has more to gain, who has more of that in my mind, if you have more to gain, you have more to lose, it's going to be Matt Schnell. Who do you think?
I'd have to agree with you, but first off, you got to put a little respect to my guy Paiva, man. He's fought Paiva too, dude. Don't forget about him, right? But no, I do agree. I think Matt Schnell has a lot to lose. He is a minus 160 favorite in this fight with the plus 135 comeback for Bontorin. But I think he has a lot more to lose because at this point he's been very critically acclaimed, I guess if you could say that, like fan love, right? People are like, dude, this dude's legit. He's been a sleeper on a lot of people's radar for a long time, and now it's finally starting to come to fruition. Nonetheless, man, let's just talk about this matchup, right? So we got a 70-inch reach for Matt Schnell, who's going to be using that very, very effectively against a 67-inch reach against Rogerio Bontorin. What we saw against Bontorin and Kai France is that Bontorin has hands, bro. He could strike. He could strike up there with the best of them. Maybe not the best of them, but he could strike very, very well. The problem is what happens when this fight goes down to the ground, right? Kai France is not nearly as decorated on the ground as a Matt Schnell is. Now, Matt Schnell, he is a karate black belt and a BJJ purple belt, right? So even though he's a purple belt, this dude still got skills, man. His active guard is legit. And one thing that I noted, AJ, that I always talk about, this is what we need to do. This is the Peter Queally thing. You get your back on the ground. Okay, you got a nice open guard, you have a nice open guard, all that good stuff, cool, active and all that. But he does a lot of ground and pound, a lot of elbows, right? A lot of just strikes, throwing hooks off of his back. Instead of sitting there and just accepting the position, Matt Schnell is trying to inflict damage, cause a cut on his opponent. And that's what I think is going to be dangerous because Kai France, he just kind of got locked up in that rear naked choke and just had to defend, right? Now, what's the difference when we see somebody who's actually not willing to just sit there and be submissive, right? So if this fight does go to the ground, we do know that Bontorin averages about 2 takedowns a fight at about a 40% clip in terms of accuracy and a 53% takedown defense for Matt Schnell. Where do you see this fight taking place at the most, and who do you think is going to be leading the dance?
I think Schnell's going to be leading the dance, to be honest, Derek. I don't necessarily know. So for me, when I was breaking this one down, kind of the X's O's back and forth, I put Matt Schnell. He's good in the stand-up, but he's dangerous on the ground for specifically that. He's not going to accept his back on the ground. He's not going to accept the position. He's much more of that position over submission fighter, where even if he's has a shitty position, he's still going to be throwing, like you said, elbows, hooks off the bottom. He's going to be out there for blood. His nickname is dangerous for a reason. He can really go out there and hurt you. Now, going back and forth, leading the dance, like I said, I think Schnell's going to do it. But if there's ever an advantage, it's definitely Bontorin in that random scramble in the first round when they're dry. It's the most dangerous time for us for a submission specialist, especially, like you said, you're dry, get that lock in pretty quick. But we saw Kai Kara France handle it, and it's kind of been the tendency for the UFC, especially in the MMA community, the tendency more for, like I said, position over submission. So submissions are becoming less dangerous the more and more people know about them. So therefore, to me, in my mind, that makes me think that Matt Schnell has a little bit more advantages on the ground because he stays dangerous instead of just looking to what some would consider peacefully end the night by putting you to sleep. I don't know. What do you think, Derek?
I don't know, AJ. This is a tough one. This is a tough one because I think, can you lead the dance walking backwards? You know what I mean? And the reason why I say that is because I think Matt Schnell is going to be on the back foot because Bontorin doesn't care. I'll take you to the ground, bro. I can walk forward all day long. He's these Brazilians that we like, right? So, like, if we're talking about it that way, I think Matt Schnell could lead the dance off the back foot in his weird way, looking to just counter. You know what I mean? That's what he does. He does this a lot. He just stares at you and he goes, that's Matt Schnell. That's what he does. You know what I'm saying? So, listen, man, Matt Schnell, fourth least time spent in the bottom position, which is going to be important for this fight, man. He's only spent 2 minutes and 41 seconds in the bottom position at 125 pounds. But Bontorin, 9 first-round finishes. This will be only his third fight in the USA, AJ. It's pretty, that means something. Just like the Wei Li Zhang, I brought that up. I was like, yeah, she didn't really fight in the USA, man. You're not going to get that love out here that you maybe have gotten in Abu Dhabi or, out there in, wherever you're fighting at. And then the last thing that I got here, AJ, is that at the end of the day, Matt Schnell's only been submitted one time, and that was back in 2014, man. So I think it's going to be tough to submit the man, but it'll be a good matchup. It'll be a good matchup. And I'm going to give you my pick. I'm going to go Matt Schnell, and I got a unanimous decision win. I think it's going to be a very back-and-forth fun matchup, but I think that he's going to do enough to edge it out. What's your pick, AJ?
Well, I got a couple things, Derek. First off, please. I'm a big fan of audiobooks, and Grant Cardone, he always says, who's the one that's really leading the conversation, the talker or the listener? It's usually the listener, my man. So there is a chance that you can lead the fight off of the back foot if you're letting them come in and you just counter strike like a sniper Conor McGregor or something. And second, man, I'm so glad you noticed that thing about Matt Schnell. I wrote it down and I thought maybe I was like just over analyzing this dude, but he literally, anytime he'll like movement, and then back, and then he'll fight. It's like the funniest. I don't know, man. It was. I'm so glad you pointed it out. But for me, Derek, I got Schnell winning this fight KO round 2. I think he's gonna put it to him. I don't necessarily know if Bontorin can handle the stand up. I think it's gonna be a crazy fight back and forth though. Right. But I do think that, especially to me, what sealed the deal for me, Bontorin had that, like you said before, with that Kai Kara France where he did the lap and then came to knock him out again. Bontorin stood up and threw the mouthpiece. Like, bro, if you were so agitated that you can stand up and throw a mouthpiece, then, how'd you get knocked out? Like, you should have, like, honestly, at the end of the day, he did get, like, tapped right on the nice spot. So he got put down. Couldn't really, defend himself. But, he let a little bit in the gas tank. So he lost a fan in me. So I'm going Matt Schnell with the KO round 2.
Let me just, give a little defense for my man. He got dropped on his head, and when he tried to stand up, his legs buckled, so the ref stopped it. And I think he was more mad at the referee than anything else, being like, bro, this is an early stoppage. Like, I could still go. But at the end of the day, man, fighter safety, man. Because listen, if you literally just got flash KO'd like that, what happens when you get knocked out, AJ? You don't remember it, man. There was one time, I've never been knocked out in terms of like any type of like combat, anything like that, man. But one time I was skateboarding out there in Santa Barbara, and I literally face first into like a concrete wall. I couldn't remember any of that. I just woke up, and what happened? Oh, okay, whatever. Like, so he probably didn't even remember it. He was like, bro, I'm good. What are you talking about? But nonetheless, man, it'll be a banger, man, and we look forward to seeing plenty of, that Matt Schnell head movement, man. But